Okay, I'm back on the router lift today. I originally had built the clamps here out of particle board because I had so much of it and I had a lot of scraps of it, so I thought, okay, I'll just glue up some chunks of that and go ahead and use that. Well, I had a real issue with the screws not holding, the material wanting to split. So I thought, well, okay, I went through the garage and I found some 3/4 inch Luan that I had left over. So I used that. And I also went ahead and I got some larger clasps. So, let's take a look at the anatomy of our clamp. This is the clamshell, I guess, mechanism, if you would call it that. This first layer, I was actually able to use my 4-inch hole saw to cut that out as a perfect circle, because it fits right around the base of my router that I have now very well. It fitted perfect. It was a absolute perfect fit. And then I went ahead and I went through my wife's Tupperware cabinet and I found a piece that was round and matched the router motor itself a little bit loose. Traced that out, cut that nice and round with the jigsaw, and then of course I cut that in half, so that's why I wanted it a little bit loose, just because of that. So our Luan is glued up together, trimmed down kind of at an angle so it fits in there a little better. Got the hinge at one side and we've got two larger clasps at the other side. One on top, one on bottom. Just latches right on there and right on there. Now, once there's actual pressure on there, she's locked in tight. So, let's see how this works. When you put the motor in, and you run it around the motor, bring our clasp up. Going to have to make sure the wires aren't in the way. There we go. That's how I'm going to want to put that in at all times. The wires to the hinge side. Got to remember that. So that'll get put in. We'll get both of the clasps started at the same time, so we're applying even pressure. And we'll pop them down. Now, that motor is going absolutely nowhere. As you can see, I can't turn it. I can't move it. It is locked in. So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to get this put back on the lift. Get the lift reinstalled, all put back together, and then we'll install the lift into our table and see how it works. I'm really glad I chose to use these clasps. Now, I just need to go ahead and get a real router. Sorry guys. And the router lift is installed. And I even have the hole cut. I tell you, one of the better investments I ever made in my life is that 4-inch hole saw. Hopefully you can see down in there, not sure if you can, but here we'll kind of pan back over. Here's our lift, all bolted in place, screwed into place rather, and here's the actual slide mechanism that everything goes up and down on, our carriage to house the router, and the two latches. Now, one thing you'll notice is that inside of here, there is really no access to the threaded rod. That is because, I'm going to try this here, not sure if this is going to work. You can kind of see this gap right here. Hope you can, not sure. That is the only access there is to the threaded rod, and it is down below. Had I been thinking, I probably would have carried this board here down even further so that it would line up with the shelf, so there's less chance of any dust ever getting blocked up in the threaded rod or the part that it slides on. There is one little gap right in here that the bearing rides in. that potentially could allow dust in. I'm still working through potential ideas to cover that up, either extending this board down further, but then when it goes all the way down, how far down is that board going to hang? So the router will just pin up in here and come on through. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop the video now. I'm going to go ahead and put the router in here, and we'll take a look at that. Alright? Okay, so now I've got my cheapo Ryobi router in here, and I can't really say cheapo. I mean, it has lasted me quite a long time. This is one of the first gifts that my wife had actually gotten me for woodworking. Very kind of her. Bless her heart, she went to several different stores, asked all the questions you could imagine, and for the price, she felt that she got the best deal possible, and you know what? I think she was right. So this thing here is, like I say, it's quite a few years old now. It's done quite a few projects. I guess we just got a message. So anyway, here we go. Let's come up top again. And there's the router. 4-inch hole. It should, everything should come up through the hole just nicely. Remember, now we've got our 1/2-inch top that will go over here. So I do have to determine now if I am going to cut a rectangular hole in that top, or just leave a smaller round hole. I might go with just a small, you know, inch hole, 1.5-inch hole, something like that. Oh, I am Mr. Popularity all of a sudden. Not sure yet. I think the smart choice would be to go ahead and do a rectangular hole that would line up with the router plate, just so I've got it. But here we go. Here's our makeshift crank. I think I'm going to make a much larger crank, but I'm going to do something cool. I'm not going to do it round. I'm going to make it like octagon or something like that. Just something crazy, because I can. So as we turn our crank, the router does go up. Not the fastest, but it's going up. Yep, that little pop was right there, the old switching and all that. If I'm going to keep this router in this setup, I'm going to have to go ahead and pull the wires out of here, out of the switch, and run them to a regular switch, I guess. You know, no big deal. I'm toying with the idea of getting one of those Harbor Freight units. I've got a 25% off coupon, and they're all of $49. So I might actually go ahead and pick one of those up tomorrow, along with the variable speed. You know, it is a nice 2-horse unit. Yes, it is a Harbor Freight. It's not a Porter cable or something like that. But hey, if it's going to be just a dedicated router here, I think it'll be fine. Hey, if this 1.5-horse Ryobi lasted me this long, I'm sure a 2-horse Harbor Freight will treat me just as well. So anyway, here we go. You can see the router coming up now through the top. Again, if I had a slightly larger crank, I could probably do a better job, you know, quicker job of this. You know, she comes up pretty high. There we go. That's as high as it will go. It actually hits the clasp. Here, I'll show you. Right there, yeah, the clasp actually makes contact with it. Otherwise, I'd have a whole nother, probably 1/2 inch. Yeah, no, that's more like 3/4 of an inch to an inch more that I could go up. I'm toying with the idea of actually cutting this out where the clasp hits. It will be concealed under the actual top. To give you an idea here, hey guys, I dropped my phone, and well, when your phone is your camera, you can't drop it. So anyway, as you can see, here's the bit out. Everything is up to full extension, and along with our saw top in the back, I believe I have full enough extension that this nut portion here to lock in our bit will actually be high enough above the table that, well, I can change the bits in and out from above the table Yes, I'll still have to reach underneath to lock the mechanism in place, but that's a simple push of a button. It's Ryobi and it's locked. Come back in, push that tab in, and voila, spin's free now. You know, and just turn the crank and down she'll go, and you can set your height. This mechanism works wonderfully. I can't say enough good about it. I'm actually spinning it with one finger right now. Here, let's show you this. There we go. You know, it's a 4-inch cutout, really, is all that it is. A piece of wood that I use that 4-inch hole saw, cut it out with. And as I'm doing that, you know, it's coming down really well. So I think if I make a bigger, like 6 or 8-inch octagon, I think that'll be really cool. Put a little handle on there for spinning it. You know, just something different. And, well, there it is. Bits now below the top. I can go ahead and reinstall our top now. And decide at a later time if I'm going to make it a rectangle cutout, or if I'm just going to run the bit on through and call it an 1.5-inch hole or something like that. Generally, this 1/2-inch bit is about the biggest I'm actually using at this point in time. I don't do any real decorative work, so I don't think I need all that big of a hole. Quite honestly, an 1-inch hole would probably be plenty for me. So that's where I'm at, gentlemen. Yeah, enjoy your Easter. Not sure I'll be getting any more videos out this weekend because of the Easter holiday. I've got to go to my in-laws here now. I should have been there probably 20 minutes ago. Boy, I got a lot of cleanup to do. And then I got to do my sister's tomorrow, so yeah, not sure I'm going to get a whole lot more done this weekend. But if I do, I'll let you know.